I think I knew when I was about 3 years old. I had an instinctive feeling that I really should have been a boy, and that I really somehow was a boy, even though I had a girl's body. I couldn't really make sense of it. I didn't know anyone else, any other people like me. I thought I was the only person like this. I lived in the 50s in Ottawa. My father was from India. My mother was from Poland. They met in Sweden, came to Canada in '51, and I was the second oldest of 5 siblings. I shared the bedroom with my sister. She was, close to my age, and I used to dress up in my room, in the bedroom, with my father's tie, my blazer, and kind of look in the mirror and stuff. And when I was, I guess, I don't know, 13, maybe younger than that, and I told my sister to keep the secret and not tell anyone else in the house, and she was very, very good about that. She didn't really understand what was going on. I didn't really understand to some level. And then later I told my father when I was 16, I said I was bisexual, because I didn't know how else to describe myself. I said I feel like a male on the inside, I'm female on the outside. And he just mentioned something about Oscar Wilde was gay, and then said, we'll have to try to find a psychiatrist to show you that the life of a girl can be just as rewarding. I said, don't tell my mother. I don't know if he did or not. And my parents died a few months after that in a car accident, so I don't know if they actually tried to find a psychiatrist or not. When I wanted to have my first hormone shot, the testosterone, I went to New York in October '71, and I was 19 and a half then, and you had to be 21 in the state of New York. My brother signed off for me. He was living in Syracuse at the time, my older brother. And when I had surgery a year later in Yonkers, New York, my sister went down with me. So, very supportive. My parents had died 3 years prior to that. And my youngest brother also very supportive. So I'm very, very grateful for that. I got the bilateral mastectomy. I had a radical done in Yonkers, New York in 1972 when I was 20. And that was one of the most euphoric days of my life when I woke up from that surgery. The testosterone, which nowadays people refer to as T, was really a wonder drug for me. No words to describe that. It was just through the roof. I mean, like before that, I was sexually dead. That part of my body never existed for me. This was like my second puberty, which was, the first one was a living hell, but this one was just euphoria. I work at the AIDS Committee of Toronto, so it's, of course, very queer-friendly, very trans-friendly. So I think I'm the first transsexual person that's been a paid staff member there. Hi, Paul.
Morning, Rupert.
How are you?
Good.
Good. We're trying to see if we can launch a peer support group for transsexual men and women who have HIV or AIDS, and we're working on that. There's another support group that I recently launched with a friend of mine for trans people who use or have used drugs or alcohol, and I launched the support group for transsexual men and female to males about a year ago. Why don't we reschedule for Monday the 31st? I'm really thinking of getting the bottom surgery done, because I really feel that's a piece of unfinished business. I wanted to do it back in '78, and it just didn't happen because of the technology. What I have now is what I consider my micro penis, but with the surgery, I would be able to stand to urinate at a public washroom. I would have the balls, and I would just feel more, I don't know, more comfortable. You get to have a dual perspective. You get to live as a female and as a male. So I think it's certainly a privilege, and I think other people can really learn from transsexual people because they've had the privilege that very few people have of living on both sides of the gender divide.
That are going to come in this.
Is there really a need out there?
I think so. I think from our end, definitely.
It'll grow because as it reaches into people, people will speak up in the community. Things like this are definitely very important to the community. It's such a small community to begin with.
The Sex Free Summit surgery has been delisted in the province of Ontario, which is very unfortunate. And considering it, the gender identity disorder is still listed in the DSM-4, the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Health Disorders. There's kind of an irony there, or a discrepancy, because on the one hand, people like myself, transsexuals, are pathologized, yet there's no return for this in terms of getting the surgery funded. The final surgery that I'm looking at for me that I can afford is about $14,000. When I came out as a transsexual in Ottawa, that was about 1971, and I came out to the gay scene. I came out as a bisexual man, a bisexual trans man, and at that time I guess I was more focused on women. And then I met another transsexual man in Vancouver, and we lived together for 3 years in Vancouver and Calgary. We broke up in '79, and I came back east. And 21 years later, we've rekindled our flame and have been together now six months and are starting to live together. To me, it's really, there's a real existential ecstasy when I'm with another gay trans man, because we're both men, we're both male, and I don't have to convince anybody. My partner sees me the way I see myself and my own body, and vice versa. Mm-hmm. It's two men relating, and we don't have to worry about proving anything to anybody. Mm. So it's such liberation and such joy. You don't have to waste energy on all of that.
Yeah,
you know, what you see is what you get. There's two kinds of surgery, and the one I'm going for is the more modest surgery because of the price and the time. If I was in my 20s, I would probably go for the phalloplasty. But for me, I'm almost 50, and I don't want to spend the next 7 years in and out of hospitals. And so I'm going for the metidoplasty, or metadoiplasty, which basically takes the existing structure and just frees it up and brings it out, reroutes the urethra and some of the rewiring, and of course creates the artificial scrotum and testes. It'll be a smaller penis, but it'll still be, it's all mine, and it's just, I don't know, it's just kind of the completion piece. I would do it tomorrow if I could. Of course, I've been waiting a long time, so I guess a few more months. I was actually hoping to have two pieces of unfinished business before I turn 50. I'm 48 now. One is my master's in counseling psychology, which will be done about a year from now, July of 2001. So I'll be 49 then. And the second one was the bottom surgery, which I was hoping to do in the fall of 2001, when I was 49, just approaching my 50th birthday. So I may not be able to quite pull that off unless I can do some fancy talking to my bank.